Well, took long enough for a Tamagotchi PNG tuber to make a Tamagotchi related video, didn't it? I'm sure all of you know about the Tamagotchi anime. Wait a minute, no you don't. Why does Bandai gotta gatekeep everything from us? Tamagotchi is an anime that ran from 2009 to 2015 and is of course based on the 1996 pop culture phenomenon toy created by the Japanese toy company Wiz and released by the other Japanese toy company Bandai. Spinning off from Tamagotchi the Happiest Story in the Universe, which is the sequel to Tamagotchi the movie, the show centers around the daily regular lives of Memechi and his Tama friends including Memechi, Kuchipachi, Kira Memechi, and many others I'm blanking on. Or at least it was about these characters' daily regular lives, but I seriously need to stop getting ahead of myself. However, I want to focus on two characters in particular that have caused this show to not only grow more popular in Japan, but spark some conversations from fans everywhere. Them being Lovelitchi and Melodytchi. These two have been very well known and loved ever since they were introduced in 2009 and 2010 respectively, and are often seen together throughout the series and take up a lot of screen time. And to the surprise of nobody, Love Melo became a popular ship within the Tamagotchi fandom. It's actually one of the more recognized ships within the community, and while it may seem like a usual headcanon thing since the ship is obviously not canon, it's one of those instances where the ship's existence can pretty much be put on the show itself. With the release of Tamagotchi Plaza on the Nintendo Switch 2, don't worry, I will make a video on it. Hopefully it'll make up for my bad money spending habits. And Pride Month coming to an end, so don't take it as you should stop celebrating because we're not all corporations. I wanted to do this fun little video explain how Bandai has handled the duo and if the ship is worthy of its title. Please keep all discussions civil in the comments, and if there are some things in this video you disagree with, then that's totally fine. Oh, who am I kidding? If you're a homophobe, get the f*** out. Quick thing before I begin, shout out to my friend VT for creating my current channel banner. It took him 5 months to complete, and I'm more than happy with how it turned out. And I can happily say I did the maid suit thing before all of you, haha. Please give him a follow on Blue Sky, he is very talented and deserves all the praise he can get. Okay, back to the video. With the series premiering in 2009, Lovelitchi was created specifically for the anime and likely in response to Japan's idol warring period, in which the country saw a large boom in idol singers and groups. She was given this entire mini-arc where she has to balance out her superstar life and school life without telling her new Tama friends, because the last time her idol life was public, she was constantly mocked and ridiculed for it at all of the other previous schools she's been to. Honestly, if I were Lovelitchi in this situation, I would be flexing my money on them and calling those kids broke-ass losers. You know, the mature route. Her character was used to provide some commentary on the idol industry like overexploitation and corporate greed, but when Bandai realized that this character was making them a lot of money, they not only threw all of that commentary out of the window, but they randomly decided to give her a partner. The end of season 2 marks the introduction of Melodytchi, a violinist from Melodyland. Whereas Lovelitchi is very bubbly and energetic, Melodytchi is a lot more laid back yet still matches her energy. Also, she can speak English for some reason.
So yummy! I love sweets!
I guess Melodyland is in America. Yeah, I don't blame her for moving out. By season 3, both Lovelitchi and Melodytchi's screen time within the show had dramatically increased to the point where they became a bigger focal point of a good chunk of the episodes. For better or worse. Ultimately, the last 2 seasons was spent on this big story arc where the duo are given these Tama poopies to collect Tama hearts or else the world will end or something. And it's a huge deter away from the slice of life angle that gave the show its charm in the first place. Sure, the anime was always continuity based and it still kept the simplistic plot lines during the arc, but it came so the f*** out of nowhere and felt like it was only done because Lovelitchi and Melodytchi were that popular and no other reason. That's totally the only explanation for it happening. I'm not blanking on anything. And what's more wild is that after the arc concluded and ended season 6 in the first era of the show, as I like to call it, Yume Kira Dream season 7 and 8 introduced Yume Michi and Kiraichi, who aspire to be idols and are given these Yume Kira bags to do magical girl stuff, which is not only where the show was at its most creatively bankrupt, but it also saw the absence of Lovelitchi and Melodytchi. Like, they brought back Memechi, Kuchipachi, and Spaceichi after they made us think he was going away forever. Even Himaspechi was brought back for some reason. But aside from a one-time appearance in Yume Kira Dream, these two were not seen again until Go-Go Tamagotchi, which are admittedly my favorite seasons next to season 1. Why they did that is, well, beyond me, but it felt very ludicrous considering Lovelitchi and Melodytchi was still very popular when season 6 ended. And these seasons are not bad per se. Hell, I'd even go as far as to say I like Miracle Friends, but they reek of Bandai's corporate greed. lead, and I believe that riding its own hype instead of sticking to its guns is part of what eventually killed the show. But more depth on that should be saved for a later video because this one's about shipping. I'm in danger. There are not any major romance plots within the Tamagotchi anime aside from the parents and characters having crushes. I mean, the closest we got was a somewhat love triangle between Himispechi having a crush on Memechi and Spaceichi having a crush on Himispechi. On a side note, I'm really not a fan of how Himispechi's character was basically just I love Memechi and rarely anything else. She's still better than who she replaced.
Does it almost feel like nothing changed at all?
God, imagine if this show was airing today in the US. And Lovelitchi and Melodytchi's relationship is no exception because, obviously, these two are just considered friends. But as I've said, you can't really blame the Love Melo crowd for shipping it because there have been plenty of times the show pulled something with these two that are very heavy implications, not gonna lie. Obviously, this doesn't mean that the ship is canon, but since Melodytchi's debut, there have been plenty of scenes in the show where it can easily be seen as yeah, they gay. And there are a few instances that come to mind. In episode 96, Is This a Confession? Mystery Profile. The friends are sharing Tama profiles, which are cards that give details about someone including their home address, how nice. And there's a page detached from someone's profile reading, I love you, Melodytchi, and the group spends the whole episode figuring out who wrote it until it's revealed to be written by who else but Lovelitchi. Keep in mind, earlier in the episode they explained that there's a difference between liking somebody and loving them because Melodytchi appears to be oblivious to the idea of love. Might want to put a pin on that. And in the popular episode 120, Melody Revived, part 2 of Melody Violin Loses Its Sound, Memechi walks in on Lovelitchi doing a little drawing while everyone is sleeping, and it's a drawing of Melodytchi playing a violin with hearts surrounding her. Okay, even if the ship's not canon, I think the writers and animators knew what they were doing here. There are many other examples I could list off, like Lovelitchi's stare in episode 48A, and the fact that the ship name itself was used for episode 46A of Go-Go Tamagotchi, Restful Occasion, Love Melo Travel Buddy. Oh, and even a Tomaverse ticket, nice. But these two examples are the ones that could mean a lot to some people. I'll admit I'm even one of them. Now, there is one major caveat to the ship that is really worth noting, and it's the heavy implications that Melodytchi is asexual, as shown with their obliviousness towards romance. Okay, while I'm at it, I'm so glad this creep was only in one episode. F this dude. And yeah, out of all the headcanons within the show's fandom, this is the one I can say is the most likely. It honestly surprises me because I haven't really seen much ace representation in Mia, so if Melodytchi is indeed asexual, that's pretty cool. Doesn't change that Lovelitchi seems to really like her. It's not entirely dishonorable to Melodytchi's asexuality to ship Love Melo when the lover is the one with love in her name. I am so funny. Melodytchi sees Lovelitchi as her best friend, aside from a violin apparently, and no doubt that Lovelitchi feels the same, but to more of a degree where she admires her, which is why there are plenty of scenes between these two that can be interpreted as queer-coded. And that's the fun of making headcanons. It can allow the imagination of people to run wild, and seeing how others see the characters is what has made fandom so engaging in the first place. Hell, there are some other Tamagotchi LGBTQ headcanons I can think of. Nechi has crushes on Momochi and Himechi, but also has a very deep admiration for Kyo Memechi, even going as far as to call him senpai in one of his fantasies. Giving off some heavy bisexual vibes, in that case he'd be just like me for real. There are a few instances of cross-dressing throughout the show, like in episode 7A where Memechi and Chamamechi morph bodies, episode 15A where it's revealed that Memechi secretly wears Lovelitchi pajamas, episode 117 where Memechi, in the character of Detective Ampan, wears a dress with makeup as a disguise. Odd how Memechi is so LGBTQ coded even after he said this.
When I said a partner, I was referring to a male partner, you guys. Besides, a pair made by two girls would be weird.
And even episode 40 of Go-Go Tamagotchi has Himispechi in a masculine disguise to get in Tamax TV's new show just to be with Memechi. It also included this scene.
Come on, Loveland. Let's go skating to Tamagotchi Palace together. I'll always protect you.
Look at the sky, Loveland. That's the skating constellation. We can chase it together.
Well, that would be cool.
And there are some others I could list off, but I believe you guys would think I've lost my marbles if I did. Okay, we can all agree that Lovelitchi's original outfit is literally the trans flag, right? But it's best to keep in mind that headcanons are just fiction, because when you treat them as actual canon, then you're pretty much setting yourself up for disappointment. Japan isn't all that accepting of LGBTQ people and don't have many protections toward them, which is why the franchise hasn't seen any same-sex marriage included, though that could hopefully change. Wait, I know, like all fandoms, the Tamagotchi fanbase is divided on queer representation, but Love Mel being the common ship makes me believe that there's a bigger chunk of the fanbase that actually wants this kind of representation than I thought. And as someone who's been proudly gender fluid and bisexual for a few years now, it's honestly quite heartening. I feel like it'd be weird to suddenly make Lovelitchi and Melodytchi canonically lovers, considering they were not meant to be in a romantic relationship in the first place. But what I would like to see is new LGBTQ representation be added to future installments of the franchise. But as always, we're gonna have to wait and see. Plus, it's Bandai we're talking about. To all of my friends who are queer, trans, ace, or somewhere under the LGBTQ umbrella, never stop loving yourself for who you are. It may seem like we're living in a dark time right now, but it shouldn't stop you from fighting for what's right. And honestly, the best thing you can do is just live in spite of the people who despise you for who you are. And even after June ends, don't stop showing as much pride as you can. Because hey, like we've always said, we're not going anywhere. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Until next time, I'm Leachi. See you later, Tama friends.